Hi guys, welcome back to Saving Salvage and welcome back to the channel. Right, it has been a mental week this week. The last week of the month is always very busy for transport, so that's why unfortunately there hasn't been a video this week or last week. But in today's video guys, I think I'm just going to go for a general update overview of the channel. There's obviously a lot of cars I've still got. There hasn't been an update on for a while. I do get quite a lot of questions asking what is happening with individual cars. So I think today's video, guys, is going to be a general update. I have got a little bit of news with the RS4, which I think is good news in a way. So there will be a small update on the RS4 and just an update on everything else, guys. So as always, if you do enjoy these videos, please do like and subscribe. And if you haven't already, please do head over to my Instagram, which is saving_salvage. And also guys, if you haven't already, please check out my shop. I have some hoodies and some t-shirts just to help with the channel. And hopefully one day that means I can do this full time. So, where shall we start? I don't know, I've got so much. Let's go outside and have a look at what we've got. So we'll start with the RS3. So this is my daily driver. I'm using it every day, and eagle-eyed viewers will also notice that I'm missing a cap here. Basically, I was machine polishing down the side here just to clear up the clear coat on the bumper, and the vibration basically knocked this cap off and it fell down. So I have got it, but obviously annoyingly to refit it I've got to take the bumper off to re-glue that back on, so I haven't done that yet. So yeah, really nice car. I actually proper love this car, and when the RS4 is done, my plan was to daily the RS4 and then sell this, just because I've got 2 kids, so the RS4 is a lot more practical. However, I think I'm going to struggle to get rid of this, you know. It's just such a nice looking car, and it's iconic 2.5 Gen 1 RS3, so I'm genuinely going to struggle to sell that over the RS4. But we'll have to wait till the RS4 is done and then maybe do some back-to-back testing and see which one is the one to keep. And I've also ordered a new trim, because this bit of trim here is bent here and it just pops up and it really pees me off. So I've ordered a new one of those. That should actually be at Audi already. But other than that, car is sweet, and it's been in daily use for, I don't know, about a month now, month and a half. So that's the RS3, sweet car, don't want to sell it. So onto the Q5, I have still got it, as you can see. Nothing's wrong with it, it's all good to go, MOT's done. I have taken a deposit on this car about a week ago now actually, so I'm just waiting for the guy to come in contact with me. I haven't heard from him for a few days, so I have received a deposit, so it is pending sold, so that is why it's still sat here, but it's all good, ready to go. And then, so that's pretty much it for that car, simple as that. But I have a sneaky suspicion that I don't know why, but the guy hasn't contacted me for a few days, so I don't know whether he is going to recontact me, but if not, then I've got a free deposit. So this car, so onto the A3, this car hasn't featured on my channel for absolutely ages now, and that was because it was all done, just waiting for an MOT test, and obviously the MOT stations until recently have only just reopened again, so that's why it was just sat there doing nothing. And as you can see, it has sat under a hedge for quite some time. It's just got crap all over it, but I did take this for an MOT last week. I fitted a new battery to it. It just needed one bulb. I think it was an indicator bulb because it was showing white, so I replaced it with a nice new yellow-orange one. Fitted that, took it for MOT, and it bloody passed with no advisories. Couldn't even believe it. I mean, I haven't looked at this car for, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 months. But but from my memory it was fine when I last repaired it, so I literally just did the obvious checks, took it down to MOT and just see what it come back with, and it completely passed with not even one advisory. So sweet car. However, it has, I don't know whether it's just because it's sat for a while, but the radio intermittently cuts out when I'm driving, so I don't know if that's just a dodgy fuse or the radio's on its way out. So that needs to be investigated, but I might just sell it as it is. It's not really worth investing too much time into it. I might just sell it and just look, a couple of grand if someone wants a cheeky, well-spec'd 170 PS diesel run around that's just had a new MOT put on it and a new turbo. So it might just be sold as is, or it could be kept for a run around if needed. I'm not sure yet, so excuse me. So that is the A3. That is technically, bar some very minor electrical radio issues, good to go as well, and obviously a major clean. Also, actually, I did get the dent in the wing, so this is going back some time, so I appreciate you not remembering, but this wing was quite badly caved in down here. It had quite a lot of damage on it. I know a dent man who's pretty good at his job. Called him up and he came down and got all the dents out. It literally looks spot on now. Look, couldn't even tell there was a dent in it. So bodywork wise, this car's not actually in too bad a nick. It's just this rear corner. I'm pretty sure though that can just be clipped back in, because I think the bolt's just missing, the screw's just missing for that, and it just needs, yeah, there's going to be a little bit. I'm not going to do a smart repair on it, it's just not worth it. I'll probably just polish it up as best I can. But other than that, the bodywork's in pretty good condition. Again, that should just polish out. Yeah, so it's not a bad car. It's just a very well spec'd 2-litre diesel sport. So that's the A3. Moving on. So I thought I'd jump in the Mustang because it's windy down this bit of corridor where I keep the cars. So we're going to drive the Mustang around to the front and we'll talk about what's happening with this. So, as you may have seen, the airbag light is still on this. I've fitted a new airbag, that's good, but my VAGCOM, I know it's a generic OBD reader, but it couldn't remove the airbag light on the Mustang. So I have bought 4Scan. I have installed it all on my computer, so I am going to do that today, hopefully. I did buy the other bit of damage, it's not damage, but this bit of trim here. I actually, when I removed the gearbox, I removed it with the gear lever on it, so basically this just fell through the bottom of the car. But when I was trying to remove this trim, it broke, as you can see here, look, it broke off quite easily actually, which is annoying. However, I have not been able to find a second-hand gear gaiter with trim at all, so I've had to bite the bullet and buy a new one. It's not just Audi that are very expensive, apparently Ford are very expensive as well. So this little plastic trim here with a little plastic gear gaiter, £120 from Ford, thank you very much. That is now in though, they gave me a call this morning, so that's in, so I can go pick that up today as well and fit that. And then actually today, let's jump out. So since the lockdown restrictions had been lifted, the body shop had been very busy. So it's actually going to the body shop today to have a little bit of body work done. So the only bit it actually needs is, as you can see here, look, it just needs this little bit fixing. It just bent down a little bit and it's just the corner bit. And the other bit was the bumper I bought, it came damaged in the post, and you can see here, look, I don't know if you can you? Basically there's a very small corner bit that had broken off, so that is the only bodywork this car needs. Everything else is completely original factory paint, but unfortunately it just needs those two little bits doing, and then the Mustang will be fully complete.
To leave the house to enjoy her glory. My tune of the week to walk on.
So we're just going to get the Polo out because it's again very windy and I cannot film properly with the wind here. So let's just bring it out and put it alongside. So I'm still waiting for the interior on the Polo. Cannot find, definitely no 5-door interiors absolutely anywhere. There is a few 3-door interiors, but one guy wants 900 quid, which is ridiculous for a Polo interior, and the others, there's a couple around the £400 mark, 3-door interiors, but they've got some holes and nicks in the fabric. So at the minute, guys, I'm still waiting. I mean, there was one that popped up on Facebook in Manchester that was being sold way too cheap, and that got sold within about 10 minutes, so I missed that one. So yeah, still waiting for an interior on this, guys. I had one thought, and I'm sure that a lot of you will disagree, and that's probably the reason I haven't done it, because I'm not 100% sure on it myself. But I have found an Audi S1 interior which would fit into this car. Now let me know what you think about an S1 interior in the Polo. The seats, obviously, they're not as huggy as the Polo GTI seats. The bolsters aren't as tight, aren't as hugging, but they are, I guess, a more premium seat. They are leather or part leather, and they would fit straight into this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is it worth putting Audi S1 seats in my Polo GTI, or shall I just hold out and wait for some GTI seats? I think I know the answer, but I just thought I'd ask the question. So that is the Polo. All good to go, just waiting on some interior. Just quickly, this Tiguan is nothing to do with the channel. It is a lease car that I got personally. It was for my wife. We had it on a 3-year lease, and it is now just waiting to go back. It is due to go back. But I had a thought of a video that I could do. Would anyone be interested in like a direct comparison between lease buying, HP purchasing, PCP purchasing, or bank loan purchasing of a car? I have done all of them many a time, so I consider myself a small expert in the matter of best ways to buy a car depending on your circumstance. So if anyone's interested in me doing a video on the best way to buy a car for your circumstance, then let me know, because I can do that. Next on the list is my S3 that is very low on fuel. So let's not dwell, let's get it around the front. So onto the S3. So the S3 is actually completely done and ready to be sold. I just haven't got round to it. If you remember, it was this wing that had a hole in it. It was rusted here. I took it to the body shop and they completely reskinned the inside with new metal, and they repaired the wing, as you can see here. So the wing is completely done. And it's a really nice car. Got it properly cleaned about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Ready to be sold. I literally just haven't got round to doing it, and if I'm honest, I'm not that bothered because these are just not depreciating. If anything, they'll probably go up slightly in value, but again, I haven't got round to doing it, and that's because it's not losing me money sat here, so I'm not overly bothered. But I will get around to it at some point. If anyone is genuinely interested in this car, please do either message me on Instagram or go to my About tab in my channel and email me using the email address there. So that is the S3, all done, ready to be sold, just haven't done it. What have we got left? Is that it? I think that's it. Have we done the Polo? All fully updated now. on everything out here. There is just the one car left, which is inside. Oh, I've just remembered. Two cars have actually been sold. So if you haven't worked it out already by now, the S4 Saloon and the A3 3.2 V6 have now been sold, guys. So the S4 went around a month ago now. A trader ended up actually buying it, so I don't know where it's ended up now, so that's gone. And the 3.2, one of my followers on YouTube, he messaged me quite some time ago and just said he wanted the car, gave me a deposit there and then, and he picked that up about 2 weeks ago. So that is the 3.2 V6 sold along with the Audi S4, and that just leaves what you see here now. And also we've got the RS4, which for obvious reasons could not be present in this little photo shoot thing here. So now we've got an update on the cars that I've sold, cars that I've got. Let's go back inside and give you an update on the RS4. So guys, update on the RS4. I took the heads and I took the block to an engine garage that basically specialise in building, rebuilding engines. They tested the heads, pressure tested them, crack tested them, absolutely fine, no issues at all. They tested the block, they said the block was absolutely fine. They agreed with me and said that the little indent on the bottom of the cylinder bore will pose no issues at all. It's very minor and won't affect anything. But interestingly, he also advised me not to order 8 new conrods. He tested the 7 conrods that I have got that weren't obviously bent. He said they are all absolutely fine. He said, look, you're going to waste your money, you're going to waste 1,300 quid, it is not worth buying 8 new conrods. He goes, that's when I mentioned about the second hand one on eBay, and he said, yep, do it. Just get a second hand one off eBay, make sure the part numbers match your bent one, and if it does, crack on, stick it in. He also said don't bother replacing the piston rings because you'll end up doing more damage to the cylinder walls, which I could see why. Obviously I've only built probably 2 or 3 engines, and that was at the dealership, Audi dealership, and they have set ways of doing things. So I've never really got proper in depth with rebuilding engines and knowing absolutely everything there is to know. So again, it's still a learning curve for me as well. Learn every day, it's not an issue. He said no, don't bother replacing the piston rings unless there is an issue with them. In my case, there isn't. He did say though, just replace the piston rings on cylinder 1, which was the bore that failed. And he actually made quite a good point. He goes, there's no point you spending 2.5 grand rebuilding this engine, get the engine running sweet, and then you find out there's other issues with the car because of the flood, i.e. the gearbox might have a malfunction, the electricals, there could be a fault with the electrics. So he goes, don't spend 2.5 grand to rebuild your engine to then find out that you've got another 3 or 4 grand bill waiting for you once the engine is running. So it did make a lot of sense. I do plan to run this myself, so I am gonna take his advice. I did speak to another engine rebuilder too, just to kind of confirm what he was saying was correct, and they said yeah, if that's what he said has happened to the engine's fine, then yeah, they would also advise not to waste your money as well. And also I read through the comments, and there was a few people saying the exact same thing in the comments, so it's kind of reassuring to know that it's not just one person saying it, there's actually quite a lot of people doing it. And hey, if it's going to save me 1,500 quid, then that's fine with me. And that just means that as a twist of fate, a Miltech exhaust costs 1,500 quid. So if it all goes well, the engine goes back together and I fix it with a second-hand conrod, which I'm going to do, by the way, and it runs, there's no other issues, and I've got £1,500 to spare, I will be getting a Miltech exhaust and some other bits as well. But anyway, that's further down the line. So guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it. It was more of a general overview, seeing as there's been a few months between some of the projects that I've still got, so I thought it was best to give you guys an overview update, and I did have people asking questions about specific cars as well. So I hope that's cleared up everything that's what we've got going on at the moment. RS4 parts will be in hoping by the end of this week, which means we can crack on and start rebuilding the engine beginning of next week. So as always guys, thank you very much for watching, and if you do enjoy these videos, please do like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers guys.